This conference will now be recorded.
Welcome to today's session, Citrix and Higher Education, a new normal for learning.
This conference will now be recorded.
My name is Todd Smith, and I am a sales engineering manager for Citrix, but my secondary responsibility is also being focused on the higher education space as an evangelist for higher education, and as well as K-12. And really what I want to share with you today is a couple of things around higher education, what Citrix is doing in the higher education space. Another topic is going to be around security versus experience, providing remote access to students and faculty and staff, what the VDI experience has morphed into and what we can do around that, virtualizing applications, desktops, lab environments, and that overall student experience to improve learning. We're also going to talk about visibility and analytics and how that can improve and drive student success. And then we're going to wrap up with a use case as well as some additional information that I want to share with folks. Citrix has been around for 30 plus years, focusing on delivering applications and desktops to remote users on multiple devices, different devices, whether they be traditional laptops, desktops, Macintoshes, thin clients, Chromebooks, iPads, even smartphones. Delivering these to any student across the board, faculty and staff members. A couple of things around the top 10s, right? These are leading education organizations that are leveraging Citrix. Some of these include the 10 highest ranked universities in the world, all of the US Big 10, or really Big 16 schools and universities, and also the top 10 public high schools or public school districts in the United States are running Citrix as a way to deliver instructional technology to students. University of Central Florida has done a great use case around how to deliver applications and desktops and deliver education technology to students where they need them, expanding out those learning spaces, improving student success. As you can see, Craig Woolley from the University of South Florida, and I'll summarize what he has to say, but one of the things he said is, with Citrix, we can deliver services and capabilities we either couldn't do at all before, or we're proving too costly or time consuming to provide. What it really did is it helped them drive student success by granting them access to high-end resources anywhere, anytime. You could probably add on any device. So we want to start off today getting into the security versus experience discussion, and think of it as a teeter-totter or a seesaw. Depending on what part of the country you came from, you had different names for them. But really, this is nothing more than a balancing act. Security versus experience. Educational institutions have a variety of different security needs. Students want to just get access to the data, the services, the applications, and the content that they need to be able to be successful. The university systems, the professors, as well as the faculty and staff, need to protect the assets of the university. In some cases, those are directly related to the student assets. Health information, financial information that goes into your admissions package, information that goes into your financial aid package, information about your student health record. All of these things are included in assets, but it's assets that can also can include university research projects, information around the intellectual property associated with the individual professors and their course of studies. You also want to be able to look at it from security postures, help reduce risk. So while you're looking at security and protecting the assets, reducing the risk, you also have to look at the comparison there of what happens to the user experience. If I require a login every single time I access an application, or if I have unique logins for each application, that can ruin the user experience. At the same time, you have to make sure that whoever's logging in is the right person. Are they authorized? Is their account disabled? Are they logging in during normal times? How do we figure those things out? The reason why we need to have a user experience and improving that user experience is because students are more and more in tune with collaboration, whether it be class projects, whether it be research projects, whether it be virtual meetup groups with students with common interests. Collaboration is happening more and more on a daily basis in higher education around the globe. And finally, we talked about the research information. You know, a lot of universities that are doing research work have to maintain a level of control, positive control over the assets themselves and the research that they're looking into. If you're talking about human factor research, you may need to comply with HIPAA. You may need to comply with PCI information or personal health information, personal financial information as well, as well as a series of requirements and approvals. We'll go back here for just a second. So we have a comment here from a chief information security officer at a large public university that does a lot of research, and his comment was, protecting the intellectual property, student data, and securing the campus is our most important task. This has gone on from, originally we were talking about physical protection. We're also now talking about virtual and information and computer protection. One of the other areas we want to talk about, and this is where Citrix has been driving a lot of success, is around remote access. Securing that remote access to reduce that risk, improve that user experience, being able to provide security from the endpoint where the user, the student or the faculty member or the staff member is accessing this data, all the way back to the data center and beyond the data center. It could be out to a cloud provider or things like that. We're interested in providing total visibility and being able to scan the endpoint before access is granted. Our application delivery controllers can not only provide an SSL VPN solution, but we can also do endpoint analysis before we gain access. We can also do scalability. So as you start seeing your remote users coming in from external networks as opposed to internal networks, we need to do things around network improvements. And our SD-WAN product, or our secure software-defined wide area networking product, which does not only aggregation, but it also does optimization, can really help with that. During the recent healthcare roundtable that we conducted, one of the directors of campus computing basically said, Citrix allowed us to right the ship as we switched to distance learning. We had one less thing to address. This is critical in their response to COVID-19 and the move from students being on campus to learning remote or being distant. Citrix has always been a leader in the virtual desktop or VDI movement. We want to talk a little bit about VDI without infrastructure. For years, we have had a capability that allows you to have access to physical devices while they're on campus with great performance. So this allows you to remotely connect into that physical device. Think about it as you've made a large investment in your campus computing environment, your on-campus computer labs, design labs, coding labs, engineering labs. Those are something that you need to leverage that investment and provide access. It reduces the cost of overall compute. What if I could include those into my VDI experience without increasing the cost? So remote PC allows you to do that. And especially in cases where you have AutoCAD or Creative Studio or a variety of different editing software, if you have students that are doing graphic design and work like that, You can take that high-end device and move it keep it on-prem in your campus, but allow the students to remotely access that from home or wherever they happen to be. One use case that we've had around for 30 plus years is the delivery of virtual applications and desktops. Virtualizing applications and desktops to support remote learning has been a critical part of our higher education strategy. Delivering those Windows apps to a non-Windows device, a Windows app being delivered to a Mac as an example. Delivering a SaaS app or a web-based app securely to the end user. Deliver the applications to those users when they need it and on any device that they happen to use. It's very easy. You install the Citrix receiver or the Citrix workspace app and you authenticate, you connect into whatever resources you need to have. Applications and desktops can be delivered from the cloud or from your existing data center, or both. The location of the workloads really doesn't matter anymore. The reason why virtual applications and desktops is so critical for us is it helps customers, especially institutions, manage costs and resources in these trying times. One of the other keys to success is around visibility. And think about it as this is the analytics piece of it. Visibility into user performance and security via a consistent, robust analytics solution that allows you to look in one pane of glass and see what security risks are, see what experience is like, see what performance looks like. Visibility is not limited to IT. For any of these things, security, performance, and experience, you can actually have these functions go to different roles within the university organization. Some of them may not be IT folks that are looking into what the user experience is like. This could be for courseware designers. This could be for individual professors or teaching assistants to see how often the student is engaged. We were talking with one of our customers during the roundtable about academic support. And this person is a director of academic support services. So they're responsible for everything from counseling students to making sure that they're attending the classes and making sure they're on their path for success. And her comment was, if we can intervene with the student before they become disengaged, we can help them get back on track for success. This is very critical in this day and age because as I don't need to reinforce this for you guys, this is a critical component of what's happening in the higher education space. Recruiting and retention has become critical, and it's critical for a component of the financial aspects of it, but it's also critical in making sure students that are enrolled in a program complete the program on time and successfully. So we recently have a case study. Long Beach City College, located in California, LA County, 80 years, serves 26,000 students from 2 different campuses. When COVID-19 hit and California issued a shelter-in-place mandate, they knew near term that would severely impact teaching and learning. They had to rethink the way they were going to deliver courses. They had to rethink where students were going to be conducting their learning activities from. In some cases, students had to go to the classrooms because that was the only place where they had consistent internet connectivity and consistent network connectivity to be able to conduct their work. They had to rethink that process. So they had to develop and deploy a solution to keep their operation viable, not only for the current semester in the spring, but for the next few semesters. So they looked at a longer term approach. What is going to allow them to deliver applications, desktops, and services to all of the students, faculty, and staff? 30 different computer labs were sitting idle at the beginning of this process as people moved to distance learning, reducing the school's ability to provide immediate resources for classes. So they deployed Citrix virtual apps and desktops, specifically remote PC, so that these computer labs could actually be used remotely. Remotely and securely without the students losing any of the work that they had done, and more importantly, continued on that path to success. They were also delivering high performance workloads, the ability to seamlessly expand their footprint for online classes. So if they needed more resources, they could burst out to the cloud. They could leverage other resources within their environment. That by allowing their students to connect into these on-campus devices, it reduced the amount of cost associated with it. They also bundled in security and performance analytics, gave them visibility so they could enable actionable security features. Students coming in from different IP addresses, different locations around the globe. Was that normal? Probably not. Was it normal for a student to come in from multiple devices throughout the week? Yes, that was normal. What was the performance like? What were some of the things that they gained out of there? Insight into how the systems were performing, but more importantly, they identified security risks, and they were able to address those security risks very quickly and efficiently. So quickly want to go over the education IT use cases that Citrix has. One of them is creating collaborative learning spaces. Our tools and products are designed to allow our users to collaborate. This equates over into the higher ed space by allowing individuals and groups of students to be able to take advantage of collaboration whenever they need it. Whether it's be connecting and content collaboration through the use of our product like ShareFile, through document authoring capabilities and editing capabilities and signatures built in, and allowing you to build in workflows for review and approval. Second one is building out virtual labs. Virtual lab environments are going to be a critical step moving forward, especially as we look into those hard physical labs where you need to spin up devices and you need to have specific devices or specific machines available for those labs. We talked earlier about the remote PC, but also being able to have that flexibility to leverage virtual machines into that environment as well. Enabling computer-based assessments. Testing is going to be a big thing as we move to a distance learning. We have a capability right now called Secure Browser, which allows you to lock down that user's browsing experience so that they can only go to the testing site. If they go to another browser or if they open up another session, it'll automatically stop and register that in. You can turn that on to register that the student went and opened up another browser, which could be a form of cheating or could also be a form of the student needs additional help. With Secure Browser, you can actually stop your session and then return to exactly where that was. Securing sensitive research data through a multitude of different ways. One of them is locking down the network access. Second is put them in the secure browser or put them in ShareFile for security. And then also have the analytics and reporting so you can know if there's been a security breach or if there's been suspicious activity that could lead to a security breach. Prevents you from losing data. Simplifying that regulatory compliance. Once again, if you have a good analytics and reporting tool, showing that proof to an auditor or to an interested compliance party can be easily done. And then fostering secure collaboration. Once again, this is a combination of our networking strategy, our networking security strategy, as well as our content collaboration functionality and capabilities. So I would invite you to take a look at a couple of blog posts that have been out there. Education, there's a COVID-19 specific blog that talks about what are the next steps, right? What are the things that need to be done and how remote enabled higher education can be achieved. The second blog is very interesting because it's about the University of Sydney in Australia. Not only were they hit by COVID, but if you remember prior to that, they got hit with the Australian brush fires at the beginning of 2020, followed by a lot of major flooding activities as well. The University of Sydney had to react to all three of those disasters and they did it effectively. And it actually walks through, the blog actually walks through how this worked and what they did to be successful. So we do have a virtual booth. I encourage you to stop by, ask questions, view some of the material that's out there, and feel free to go to citrix.com, request a demo, ask more information. Look us up in the EDUCAUSE, the NERCOMP website. We're listed in there. Be more than happy to answer any questions that you may have. And with that, appreciate your time. Please stay healthy and stay safe. This is Todd Smith from Citrix.